Hi, my name's Michael, and today I want to talk to you about War in Turpentine by Stephen Hermans. To give you a bit of backstory, Stephen is a Flemish author, and when he was much younger, I believe he was still a teenager, his grandfather gave him two notebooks full of his writing before he died. And Stephen kept these notebooks for a long while and eventually came and read it, and what he discovered was this was his grandfather's memoir. It was talking about his life, and not just about his life in the war, but life growing up in poverty and finding the love of his life, obviously the war, and his passion for art. So Stefan kept these notebooks for a long while, and it wasn't until fairly recently, much later in his life, he sat down and revised his grandfather's words, and the result of that is War in Turpentine, which is like a literary hybrid. It's sort of like a memoir biography type work of fiction because it blends the two and tells the story of his grandfather's life, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily non-fiction because of the way it was written. So his grandfather was born in 1891 and he eventually died in 1981, so he lived a pretty full life and he experienced a lot. He has a lot to say, and while it is the focus of just the grandfather's life and what he went through, it kind of works in a way where it explores life in Belgium as well, because the impact of World War One in particular has had a huge impact on Belgium, more so than World War Two did. When the Germans invaded Belgium in World War One, it was known as the Rape of Belgium, and it was a dark time. It was the occupation of Belgium caused a lot of problems for people, and the Germans treated the Flemish and the Belgian people really brutally. And while in World War II, Belgium eventually capitulated to Germany again, it wasn't quite as devastating, but it was still horrific, and war is horrific, but it was not as bad as what it was if you compared the two wars. And so that's kind of a little bit of a backstory for War in Turpentine. And I love the way the book explores this one person's life from childhood through his whole life, but I love the way it also reflects the feeling of a country and how devastating war is and how destructive war is. But there's this unique blend in War in Turpentine that I love. It's the idea of destruction and creation that keeps playing out throughout the book. Like the title alone, we've got war and then Turpentine, which is referring to art, where you've got destruction and creation. We've got the grimness and then the beauty. We've got elements throughout the book that play off each other like that. We've got the harsh realities of life in the trenches, but he writes about the beauty of the zeppelins through the sky when he looks up at night. And there's this whole conflict between beauty and destruction that plays out throughout the book that I really loved. And I think that's what made this book so enjoyable and so interesting. And even though War and Turpentine kind of means war, like destruction and beauty because of art, Turpentine is used to erase art as well. So you still got this elemental or this idea of destruction, beauty being destroyed, and because Stefan's grandfather had a pretty harsh life, you do see the elements of beauty, but you do have to battle through a lot of devastating times, a lot of struggle, a lot of war, and a lot of starvation and poverty. But through it all, there's this wonderful sense of beauty and art that does play out the sense of creation and joy in finding a passion in life, like his grandfather's passion for art kind of pushes you through the novel and kind of what brings the novel together and makes this a beautiful novel to read. And I found it so elegant. I found it so beautiful just reading through the pages, and it was just such a wonderful experience. I love that balance. I love the balance between destruction and creation. I love the balance between devastation and beauty. And I think Warren Turpentine did this really well. And I have to really commend Stephen Hertzman for not writing this book straight away, for growing as an author and waiting till later in his life to pull out his grandfather's notebooks and then producing this novel, because I think it benefited from Stefan's own life experience, his own development in his writing skills, and it just came out at the perfect time because I think it just works now. And I'm not sure if it would if he did this a long time ago when he first got the notebooks. And I also have to say that David McKay did the translations, and the beauty that comes from the writing really is what makes this book so wonderful. And I think David McKay did a wonderful job constructing beauty and depicting everything in the book. Warren Turpentine has been longlisted for the Man Booker International Prize this year, and this is the only book I have read on the long list so far, but I was really blown away by this book that I am kind of hoping it wins, but I obviously have to read some of the other books before I can make a proper judgment. But I think this is a wonderful book, and unfortunately I don't have the book to hold up, but obviously I've left cover art on the screen because this was a library book for me, and it obviously had to go back to the library because now that the long list is out, people are interested in reading the books on the long list, and whatever's at the library gets snatched up pretty quickly. I would love to know what your thoughts on this book if you've read it, and if you want to leave me a comment, please do so. And let me know if you are planning to pick up this book because I'll be interested in hearing your thoughts on it. If you want to find all my links to social media, they are in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching.